So hi again, everyone. My name is Ayşe Sabuncu. I'm the co-founder of Impact Up Istanbul, also one of the partners of the platform, and my co-moderator will be Gonca today. Gonca.
So welcome again. Sorry about that. So I'm the managing director of Koç University Social Impact Forum, and we are the part of Turkish Social Entrepreneurship Network. Welcome.
So we have a very intellectually stimulating 1 hour ahead of us. Impact investing, similar to the concept of social entrepreneurship, is a topic that has been trending across the globe for some time now. Similarly, especially during the past 3 to 4 years, the interest and the work around the development of an impact investing ecosystem in Turkey has been increasing. We still have a lot to learn, but the excitement around this topic is building up. Today, through our panelists, we will listen to lessons and stories from more developed impact investing markets, as well as hearing about the recent developments in Turkey. Before we get to our panelists, though, we would like to set the tone to give you a quick introduction of what impact investing is and a little bit additional information so that the audience here can be on the same page about the definition before we get into more deeper topics. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. So this is the definition I really like. There are some versions of it, but I think this covers the gist of it. Impact investing is an investment approach that intentionally seeks to create both financial return and positive social or environmental impact that is actively measured. There are some key terms and words here that's actually very important to make this definition valid. This is by the World Economic Forum. Intention is quite an important word in impact investing. Balancing both financial and social return is quite important, and measurement is really important. So our panelists will get into more details about this throughout our questions. Although this definition gives a very clear talk about what impact investing is, when you ask about an example, like tell me about an impact investment, what it is, it's hard to give you one example because actually impact investment is defined through a spectrum that you see in my next slide. This is by the European Venture Philanthropy Association spectrum, which can be found in various different forms across other organizations as well. So when you ask for what impact investment is, it is actually explained through a spectrum in addition to our initial definition. In the middle, you will see investing for impact and investing with impact. These are two complementary ranges of where impact investments lay across the world. And when you hear about some impact investment examples, they will fall into the spectrum, maybe more to the right and sometimes maybe to the left. So when we talk about impact investments, the examples and just overall, this can fall into a general spectrum. Quickly, one more slide, and I would like to thank Anja for sharing these with us. Investing for impact and investing with impact, they are, as I mentioned, they are complementary, and they have various different benefits to the investor and to the investee. So they have, depending on the market, depending on the need in that specific market and in that country, either of these investment methods really work in the favor of that specific market. So I'll stop my screen sharing there, and I would like to give the word to our panelists now. We have very distinguished panelists who are experts in their fields. Thank you very, very much for joining us, Anja, Kurt, and Seçkin Bey. Maybe we can first start about who you are and which organizations you represent, and a quick word about your organizations. Anja, can we start off with you?
Günaydın, merhaba. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. My name is Anja König. I'm representative of the European Venture Philanthropy Association, where I support our members and build the ecosystem in the DACH region, and also lead a new initiative, the public-private initiative for collaboration. There's probably also another reason why I was asked to speak here. I lived in Turkey for 4 years. My second daughter was born in Istanbul, and I worked at the Sabuncu University first as Mercator and Rockefeller Research Fellow, and then at the Entrepreneurship Center of Sabuncu University. So there are many people here in the room with us together who we worked with building the very nascent ecosystem in Turkey. We did the first social entrepreneurship survey together, published on the role of government in impact investing. We organized the first impact investing conference together with UNDP and TISEF, and many others, the Ministry of Development actually, and a few development agencies who were also quite actively involved. And we set up at the Entrepreneurship Center of Sabuncu University, we set up the first social investment program that targeted not only the social entrepreneurs, but also the pioneering social investors in Turkey. So really exciting to be here and to see the progress also that has been made in the Turkish ecosystem. So EVPA is a network of more than 400 social investors, including foundations, impact investment funds, government development agencies, and intermediaries across Europe, and actually even beyond. We really have the objective of both strengthening the capacity, building the capacity of individuals and organizations, fostering peer learning of our community, and also really creating a space to rethink and use finance as a way to co-create solutions to development. So that latter mission is really becoming more and more important to us, the aspect of co-creation of solutions, of co-funding of solutions to the social challenges that we are all facing. So our training academy, we do different things. Our training academy provides a good introduction for newcomers as well as more advanced practitioners. Our knowledge center produces toolkits, sector analysis and studies. We have a very strong relationship with the European Commission, where we see ourselves as being a voice of the EVPA, the social investment community, towards the European Commission, at the same time also sharing latest policies and interventions with the community, with the investors. And we run also leading network events, including the upcoming annual conference, and maybe I can use the opportunity to pitch for it. It's in 2 weeks' time. You're very welcome to register for that. It will be a great event. And we also, since 2017, we have come up with very bespoke member initiatives that serve the variety of different member segments. So we have a corporate social investor initiative, an impact fund initiative, a foundation initiative, and the new public-private collaboration for impact initiative that I'm leading. We are also setting up various thematic offerings like the response to COVID, climate action, migration, education, and the likes. And at the global level, we are looking at leveraging the synergies that we have with our regional networks, like the Asian Venture Philanthropy Network and others. So, for example, we set up a COVID response platform, Unites Europe, with a number of European foundation network alliances and the like. So I would like to leave it there.
Thank you very much, Anja. Kurt?
Yes, good morning. And first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure and an honor. A bit about myself. So I'm Peleman. I'm based in Belgium. I'm also from Belgium. And my personal background is I worked for organizations such as humanitarian organizations such as Doctors Without Borders, the United Nations. And then I moved on into philanthropy and social entrepreneurship, social investment, impact investing for organizations such as Ashoka, EVPA, Co-Impact, and now, and that's my role here, the Europe Director for the AVPN, the Asian Venture Philanthropy Network, which basically is a bit the younger sister of EVPA, the European Venture Philanthropy Association. We have the same roots, the same founders, I think the same mission and approach. So it's some of the things I will add are pretty similar to what Anja said already on EVPA. I think in a nutshell, our mission is moving more capital towards impact in Asia. And so the capital covers the whole spectrum of capital, the spectrum that you presented very well and which was developed at the time by EVPA. So that's our main mission, moving more capital towards impact, different types of capital, and not only financial capital. And again, that can be grants, impact investing, traditional asset management, through corporate engagements, but also the whole non-financial capital approach. So we cover all that spaces of capital. And what we do is also very similar to EVPA. We're a membership organization. We have more than 600 members covering the whole of Asia. And we also have quite some members from Europe and from the United States who are investing and active in Asia. So we're a membership community where obviously there are a lot of connections being created. Next to that, we also perform quite a lot of research. We have thematic priorities like a climate action platform. We have a large program on gender. And we organize a lot of events, mostly online now, but we used to have a lot of local events. Our main headquarters are in Singapore, but we have a very decentralized team. So we have local teams in places like India, China, Indonesia, Southeast Asia. And voila, very much looking forward to the rest of this exchange.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and Seçkin Bey, on to you.
Hi everyone, Seçkin Yelmen. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm the director of Turkey Development Fund, which was established and managed by Development and Investment Bank of Turkey. For those who don't know, Development and Investment Bank of Turkey is the state investment bank owned by the Treasury in Turkey. Turkey Development Fund story is quite new actually. Last year, we established Turkey Development Fund as an umbrella fund under which we were looking to establish different sub-funds for different teams and strategies basically. So under the strategy, we established we have signed protocol to establish two funds. One is a regional development fund, which is basically a lower mid-market private equity fund that we are going to be managing. The other one is a technology and innovation fund, which will be focusing on venture capital with fund-of-fund and co-investment strategies. For myself, before joining Turkey Development Fund, I used to be an investment director at ADM Capital, which is a Hong Kong-based asset manager. So I tend to represent the fund manager's perspective for the purpose of this panel. I think I will dig into more of what we do in the coming questions. Thank you.
Okay, super. We have great speakers, a lot of things to learn. And I see from the screen that Shafak is here. Hi, Shafak. And Shafak actually is the co-founder of Etki, a new impact investment platform in Turkey. Maybe at the end, if we have time, I would be pleased to give a word to Shafak so she can shortly explain what their intention. They are established as an NGO and the first impact investing platform of Turkey, and it's good to have an ecosystem to the ecosystem, a new player, a new stakeholder. Both and Anja, I have some questions to them, and they have been working in the impact ecosystem both in Europe and Asia for a while, and throughout the development and growth of the European and Asian impact investing markets. They have a lot of knowledge and experience to share with us. And Anja, it's good that she also knows Turkish market. So it's nice to have back to Turkey now after a while. So I will start with Anja. Anja, could you please tell us about the evolution of impact investing ecosystem in Europe? It would be great to take some lessons from that evolution for Turkey's development, please.
Yes, thank you so much. There are many developments actually since EVPA was founded 16 years ago, really. So at that time when EVPA was founded, it was really the first one to bring together a more commercial, entrepreneurial spirit with they tend to say to combine it with the soul of philanthropy, and to bring the impact space together with an entrepreneurial acumen and business approach and a venture capital approach. So that was in 2016, was very revolutionary. And since then, a lot of things have actually developed and changed. And even the narrative, I think, in the impact investing space has also developed. I would like to highlight 3 developments that I think could be interesting for Shafak Hanım to look at in her new role as promoting the impact investing field in Turkey. And I think in particular, it is really interesting to see that there is more support to investors actually. So there's a more variety of investing networks set up for peer learning. And this is really important in my view, because also we tend to forget that also any investors need guidance and support about the new impact models and their role in the ecosystem. And they do look for exchange with peers. So really an important role that you are having. And I think it's really important to look at this. And I think it's also important to emphasize that there's a broad variety of investors, as Kurt just said. So on the spectrum that you just showed, there is a huge variety. It applies. So the need for support applies to both investors that come from a philanthropic background as well as from the commercial background. And to recognize that there is such a variety of different investors is very important. I would also like to emphasize, and I think it cannot be emphasized enough, is the role of government that comes in. And maybe we're going to talk about this a bit more later on, but I think it's also important to recognize that government has an important role also as an investor, and at all levels, as local, regional, and national level, and even at international level, if you look at the role of the European Commission and their funding and investment programs. And we do have the corporate social investor. And I think this is something that is really interesting. And there's something like the rise of the corporate social investor that we at EVPA trying to support and emphasize. So you have increasingly foundations, impact vehicles created and funded by large corporations and family companies. And previously, it was really a strong separation between the commercial part and the impact part. And that is changing. So you have not only volunteering programs where staff from the corporates engage, volunteer their skills also with the impact companies, impact enterprises, and social purpose organizations that are funded by their impact arm. But also, you also see it the other way around, so that the foundations are trying to influence what the co-company is doing. So for example, our partner, one of our close partners in the corporate initiative, the CNA Foundation, a large fast fashion retail clothing company, set out to revolutionize and change not only the CNA company, but even the entire textile industry. So they consciously invest in social innovations that improve the sustainability of the textile industry. And I think this is a really good example. So you have more investor and a wider range of investors. The second element, interesting development, is really the importance, the increasing importance of system thinking and system practices in impact investing. So we see a community of pioneers that start to look at the root cause of the social problem that we are trying to address. And then then soon you come to the conclusion that actually unemployment, education, it is not only about investing in small individual projects, but actually looking at the linkages between the different projects. And then soon you realize, actually, we cannot do it alone. We cannot provide the funding alone. We need to work together with other investors. We need to invest in organizations that actively form partnerships with governments, with corporate, and so on. So we do see an increasing rise of collaboration, co-funding practices, pooling of resources, as well as entrepreneurs that have very convincing partners and very intentional partnership strategies. That, of course, requires us to strengthen our leadership skills, our system practices, our collaboration muscles, I would say. And honestly, I think we are not very good at this yet, but there is a momentum building up where people really see the importance, and I'm very excited about this. And the third aspect that I would like to mention, which I think is very important when you talk about building the ecosystem, it is actually being aware that the ecosystem it consists of those who connect, like the Turkish Social Entrepreneurship Network, like the social investment organizations, as well as many like the Impact Hub, the intermediary, the Entrepreneurship Support Organization. We tend to forget that we need them to connect the dots, to support the capacity, to build our own capacity, and to do research, to create transparency in the market. And so we now, thankfully, we see more funding and awareness flowing into ecosystem services and market infrastructure providers, as well as funding of research of products and services that can be used by everybody in the field. So I'd like to leave it there for the time being.
Okay.
Obviously, there are many more international developments I can talk about, but
yeah, we'll talk more
for later. Yeah.
So I really like that definition of EVPA, impact for investment and impact with investment, and both are needed. But the impact washing is that is done is like, you know, like greenwashing. We should be careful and not confusing pears and apples. So pears is wonderful, and we like also apples. So let's do not confuse what they are for it, but they are all needed. And thank you for the explanation again, Anja. So I'm looking to Kurt now. So similarly for you, what do you think are some key interesting points from Asian impact investing ecosystem that would be beneficial for our local environment? Because we know more about European market, but we are not very knowledgeable from the Asian ecosystem, and we definitely would like to learn more. Please, Kurt.
Okay, thank you. And interestingly, indeed, that there's less knowledge in the Turkish market on what's happening in Asia than what's happening in Europe, because I think for some of the components of the ecosystem, there's a lot to be learned from Asia because of similarities of size of markets, of size of the challenges, etc. But I would say overall the lessons learned from Asia are pretty similar, even if, you know, it's a very different continent than the ones that Anja described. And so I'm not going to repeat everything, but I'm going to repeat some things because they're really important. The first part is indeed, we're talking about an impact investing ecosystem, and Anja was talking and referring also to the ecosystem part. We're really talking about an ecosystem. And when you're talking about ecosystems, you're talking about system change. And that's a messy process. It's complex, it's messy, it's not a linear planification process that you can apply. It's what you call more kind of a wicked problem with a lot of interdependencies, with a lot of, you know, unexpected things happening where you need to play out on. And so to have a mindset of, you know, we're in here for the long haul, there are going to be a lot of unpredictable things happening. We need to engage with a very wide diversity of players. And I also like very much what you said about the apples and the pears, I think. There are different type of organizations who, you know, where a lot strive, you know, building on their own mission towards different levels of impact, and they're all fine. You know, as long as you progress, you don't need to take the moral high ground that because you're, you know, 100% impact, you're much better than if you also strive for a financial return. Within that ecosystem context, everybody has its place, and it's important to accept all those places. So there's that component of building an ecosystem and how it's a sophisticated thing that needs to happen. It's unpredictable, and you need to have the mindset to do that. And again, that mindset entails some risk taking, and definitely a word that has fallen already. A lot of times it's collaboration. Collaboration, and even further than collaboration, it's also alignment and integration of approaches. I think the impact investing market, it will be very difficult to develop it without strong support from philanthropy, for example. You need a time horizon, you need a level of risk taking that a lot of impact investors, won't be able or don't want to take. And so, in a sense, a good example is, I think, for example, the whole microfinance sector, which is now a mature sector where there are a lot of profitable organizations, but it took many years and billions of grants before the microfunding sector had been developed to a level where it became interesting for impact investors. So the development of an impact investing ecosystem will require strong collaboration and strong support from philanthropy. And that's not only, and that's partly building the ecosystem, but also there are a lot of, and that's maybe a good example from Asia. Obviously, the scale of the number of people that need to be touched is much different than in Europe. The problems are larger, and the population is much larger. And within that context, you start with a lot of small initiatives, which will take even much longer before they reach a relevant size. And in that space, often what you see is that philanthropy or grant making or things like first loss capital play a very important role. So that's the second component, the important role that philanthropy takes, or grant making, or you could also say, I was referring already to that, like the role that government can play there in providing funding or covering the risks. So that's also second important element, and where you see in Asia, progress has been made over the years, but it's a lengthy process, building the ecosystem again. I repeat myself, but it's complex, the risk taking, but you see more and more of that is happening in Asia, the collaboration, the integration with other players, with corporates in Asia. You have a very strong tradition and still a very strong presence of family businesses, for example, for who their community engagement since ever was very important. So now through the impact investing approach, they learn new tools on how they can increase and improve their impact. But we see again a strong affinity with what is often the DNA of family businesses, and you have a lot of those in Asia, and who are very complementary to impact investors. They wouldn't need an impact investor to try to become a much more socially, ecologically responsible company. It's in their DNA. So that's also a lot of potential where we see there. And then, again, where I started off with, I think maybe some similarities with the Turkish market also in terms of the size of the markets that are there. If you take India, if you take Indonesia or China, you're talking about hundreds of millions of people, or tens of millions if you take, specific provinces or specific states. So the challenges are huge, but also considering that you have what they call the bottom of the pyramid, you have like a very large markets there, more than I would say in Belgium. The bottom of the pyramid market in Belgium or in Germany or in Holland would be relatively limited. But the bottom of the pyramid in Asia is a very large market where there are a lot of opportunities to improve the lives by offering services or products that will really make a difference for those people within a market model where there are also some financial returns to be covered.
Okay, Kurt, thank you very much. So actually, I have a couple of questions left, but while you are talking, you already answered these questions, like the key success factors you both mentioned and governmental support. And maybe I can add on something like that from the Turkish market, that I really believe that philanthropy is important to support. The new philanthropy is needed to support the impact investing market. In Turkey, we have a great culture of philanthropic culture. and we have great organizations, big foundations, but unfortunately, so far we couldn't be successful to make them go forward and make a step to make really support the impact investment and entrepreneurship philanthropy. But of course, like Koç Foundation or Sabuncu Foundation, there are big organizations like Zorlu Foundation or Kale Grubu and others, big foundations. They are now started to support the ecosystem, social entrepreneurship, and I think the new generation of foundation, their families, their daughters, their son, they are more engaged in impact investing and make their foundation and this family go farther to support more social entrepreneurship. And now I would like to, we will come back to you when we have time again, but I would like to forward to Seçkin Yelmen and to talk more about Turkey, as our audience are from Turkish market and Turkish stakeholders. So you are a part of an organization that has been making a significant effort for the development of the impact investing ecosystem in Turkey. And we are glad that, you know, you are here and you will take this market go farther. And we are here to support you. So far, how do you see the potential of impact investing in Turkey? And you can maybe answer two questions together. Why do you think impact investment is important for Turkey? What doors does it open for our country? Please.
Sure. First of all, I think Turkey has great potential. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So Turkey is, you know, great at adopting global trends, which we have seen for venture capital ecosystem, right? I mean, in the last 5-10 years, it developed really fast in Turkey. Now we see a significant inflow of venture capital, smart money, and Turkish startups attracted major strategic players at impressive valuations, you know, despite a number of challenges that, you know, Turkish economy faced in the recent years. You know, we had our first unicorn recently. So I think development of impact investing ecosystem is no different. So we adapt quickly, basically. And if you look at impact investing area, you know, the assets allocated for impact investing is growing at a fascinating pace, right? I mean, it was almost doubling each year. We are now talking about, you know, almost $1 trillion assets under management allocated for these purposes. I think IFC says it's going to be, you know, more than that, $26 trillion recently. There was a study about that. So what I want to say is that, you know, Turkey has traditionally had almost a 1% share in global economy, if you look at different metrics. So if we just attract our 1% from that assets under management, it's $10 billion, right? And considering the high growth of this asset class, it's going to be more. So it has huge potential. I think there's no problem on the supply side of capital. There's plenty of money out there, but you need to develop the right products to be able to attract them. If you look at the demand side and whether Turkey has the potential to generate enough investment opportunities per se for impact investing, I think the answer is definitely yes, right? I mean, I sincerely believe that Turkey's natural resource is her entrepreneurs. So we have amazing entrepreneurs that I've met through the years, and they know actually how to adapt quickly to, you know, different developments. It's in our DNA, and we live in a, you know, dynamic, sometimes turbulent country. So all of these skills have been developed, I think, pretty good, and all of our entrepreneurs have that kind of muscle. So the supply is there, the demand is there. The main challenge is, you know, to unlock this potential by developing a highly functional and efficient ecosystem, I guess. And I think there's a lot to be done by both public and private sector players, as Anja and Kurt mentioned. Apart from that, why impact investing is important for Turkey. I really believe that Turkey has what it takes to be a major hub for impact investing, mainly due to a number of reasons. So one is perhaps geographical. Turkey is at the crossroads of three countries located in the middle of CEE, Middle East, and CIS regions. So she's the gateway to Europe for both Asian and African countries. I think if you look at all these regions from a historical perspective, there has been a significant number of conflict in these areas, and there have been significant challenges on the economic development. And it's like most of the so-called 17 SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals were indeed created for these regions. So Turkey is in a unique position to access all these regions and all these markets. I think we always have this bridge argument. Of course, we need to lay this on solid grounds, which brings us to my second point. Again, if you look at the same region, CE, CIS, MENA region, Turkey has the most developed investing infrastructure and I would say regulatory and legal framework as well. So maybe except Poland for CE. Apart from that, I sincerely believe that we have the best infrastructure. So I think this is really the key to actually facilitate a healthy ecosystem. Since we have all the institutions in place that are compatible with European, US counterparts, where the investors are accustomed to and they know how to operate. And Turkey has a long history of open market, fully functioning capital markets. I think these are all advantages. So I think if Turkey can take the necessary steps to perhaps introduce tax advantages or certain exemptions specifically designed for impact investing, I think we have all the ingredients to become a major impact investing hub. My last point would be very quickly is cultural. So the third point is cultural. Turkey has been hosting more than 4 million Syrian refugees and has been a pioneer in terms of humanitarian aid in African countries. Even in this COVID-19 crisis, Turkey aided more than 40 countries by shipping masks, despite she needed them the most. So I think we have this cultural tendency toward social entrepreneurship, and if we combine this cultural soft part with the hard facts that we have the necessary infrastructure, I really believe Turkey should choose impact investment as the team to become a hub for the region.
Okay, thank you, Seçkin. And actually, indeed, really, we have very strong financial institutions, and also entrepreneurship ecosystem is very relatively developed. It's good, and we have a lot of social problems. So when the social problems exist, so a lot of new solutions are needed. So social entrepreneurs are very needed. But one danger that we have been seeing with our partners working in social entrepreneurship, as the impact investment is going to be a very buzzword, and it's a sexy word, and people are going through that. There is a danger that entrepreneurship ecosystem is, ignoring social entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we should be, especially like new platforms or people, organizations that will work on impact investment should be careful about that. So as our speakers, Anja and Kurt emphasize on it, collaboration, everybody is needed. So there should be collaboration between entrepreneurship ecosystem, which are very, at present in Turkey, very different players, and social entrepreneurship ecosystem, very different players. I mean, we are wide open to collaborate, but a little bit entrepreneurship ecosystem look higher to other stakeholders. There's a danger, but I'm sure that we will come over together. So maybe lastly, I can give again a word and question to Seçkin, Yetken about, as the Turkey Development Fund, what has been done. You talk a little bit about that, but what are the next steps for the development of Turkey impact ecosystem? Do you have any plans? Would you like to add on something?
Sure. Let me don't go through all the steps have been taken, as you just said. So let's focus on next steps. I'm conscious about the timing. So, but I just need to mention that, you know, recently in March 2020, we kind of developed a, you know, innovative impact investing fund structure together with UNDP, and we actually applied for a grant, which was not, you know, accepted in the end. But in that fund, what we tried to do was to actually bridge this, you know, impact and fund management perspectives together, whereby you have a traditional investment committee and an impact committee, which will be doing the pre-screening for impact purposes, as well as doing the, you know, measurement after the investments are made and the reporting. So having this sort of a, I think, collaborative structure is the key to attract investors and to actually make believe that these are you know, impact investing focused investments. I mean, at the end of the day, impact is a word that is widely used, and most of the time I don't think it's warranted. It doesn't, you know, lay on you know, solid grounds. So I think the best way to do this is to have these collaborative structures. I cannot believe that, you know, pure commercially minded fund managers, like I used to be, could be convinced about impact investing, you know, easily in a couple of years. So that's why you should have this kind of structures, and you should be able to develop this kind of products so that you can actually attract investments for the impact side. For Turkey, I think the most important part is we are looking to form a national advisory board, you know, which is part of the GSG network. I mean, we as the bank, we hosted a, you know, task force meeting in, I think, December 2019, where we invited all the stakeholders to exchange ideas. I think we have come to the stage where we should actually be forming this national advisory board. We are working on that, you know, first with, you know, public institutions, then we will open that up to all the stakeholders. And I think that would be a major step forward. UNDP is gonna announce, you know, investor mapping, SDG investor mapping study pretty soon, which will be actually shedding more light on, you know, what sort of opportunities are there in the Turkish market. I think that's another big step. And for ourselves, as we are the fund managers, we are looking to actually establish the first impact investing fund in Turkey and manage that or co-manage that. It doesn't matter. You know, we have scarce resources as a country, so we have to pull all our resources, all our know-how together to come up with something that really works. I think we are all working toward that. So let me put it here.
Okay, thank you. So now social impact is in your blood. You'll be our translator between the business world and social impact world.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, as a director of a very important fund. Thank you to Seçkin. So I'm looking to our timing. 11 minutes left. Maybe I can take a couple of words from Shafak and then go back to Anja and Kurt. And while please make from chat if you have any specific questions to our speakers. Please, Shafak, could you please add a couple of words about Etki?
Sure. Hi to everybody, and thank you for this opportunity to give a ground for Etki. So Etki is the impact investing platform of Turkey. Although it's been a very short period of time that we have incorporated the NGO in Turkey, in Ankara, we have been building capacity for the last 3-4 years as impact investors, investing out of Turkey. And the reason we did this, we have been in the markets in Europe and in the Asian markets for a while, and we could not see any potential in Turkey to invest in impact, and there was no ecosystem. For instance, we were doing many conferences. I'm not talking about social entrepreneurship, of course. I'm talking about the impact investing side of it. And eventually we come up with the idea to incorporate this NGO in Turkey to be more active and to be able to create an ecosystem in Turkey and to start to network with all stakeholders within this field. And when the question asked, how can we develop an ecosystem in Turkey? I have made notes, and I have three points here, not to take a lot of time. First of all, I think we have to locate ourselves as a country to see what our strengths and weaknesses are within this sector that we are trying to establish in Turkey. So with the geographic approach, when we look into the world, when you look at the West, the Anglo-Saxon countries, for instance, the United States, Canada, and then Australia, even England, you see that the impact investing ecosystem is much more focused on pensions, family offices, insurance companies, foundations, philanthropists, and of course the private sector. But when you go to the East, you recognize that social entrepreneurship, microfinance, tech startups are more crucial within the ecosystem, within their own ecosystem. So where does Turkey stand? Where should we locate Turkey, depending on these facts? I think, personally, I think that Turkey has a potential to accommodate both systems. For private sector, to have private sector, to have pensions, insurance companies, and on the other hand, to have social entrepreneurs, microfinance, blended finance, to come into the market and to form a beautiful composition. And also, Turkey is in such a geographical point in the world that will allow her to different markets. For instance, the OIC countries are a great potential for Turkey to go and to accommodate their funds in impact investing. Also, the Turkish Republic countries, and then North Africa.
Şafak, sorry, we have 6 minutes left. Maybe we can start taking some questions.
Yes. And so this gives Turkey a soft power, I must say. The second thing I wanted to say is collaboration is key, as many of our friends have already told, and leadership matters in this sense. Inclusiveness and transparency matters, having the private sector attracted to the impact investing sector, and having the public sector attracted as well to do more PPPs, and using blended finance is crucial, and connections with the other NGOs and the academia is of course very, very important. The last thing I want to mention is the importance of building capacity, which is training professionals, fund managers, lawyers, and professionals coming from financial backgrounds is very important. And the last thing, but not the least, maybe the most important one, is adopting metrics for measurement, as measurement is the backbone of impact investing. Thank you.
So thank you, Şafak. So it's good that we're establishing Social Value Turkey for social impact measurement and management systems, setting the standards. So please, Ayşe.
I want to actually direct our final question to Anja and Kurt. I think we talked a lot about investment and from the investor's perspective, but I think without social entrepreneurs, impact investing sector wouldn't exist really. Putting aside all the infrastructure work that relates to impact investing. So my question is with regards to like, what would you advise social entrepreneurs looking to receive impact investments from not just locally, but from just a general ecosystem? I'm just assuming that Turkey is going to be as developed as Europe and Asia in the near future.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks for that really important question. I think for social entrepreneurs, wherever they may be based, I think it's very important to think not only about the quantity of capital that you want to raise, but the quality of capital. Often you find that some entrepreneurs put their own objectives and own core mission behind just in order to get the funding. But I think it's very important to consider that funding, even grants, come at a cost. And at the cost of reporting, for example, they can be short-term. And it's really important that the investors have similar ideas about the impact that they want to generate that you do as a social entrepreneur. So I think it's really important also to put yourself in the shoes of the investor that you're approaching. Do your homework, do background research on the entrepreneur that you want to reach out to. The problem in a relatively nascent or immature ecosystem is that there's simply not enough investors around who understand what you are doing. And so that is obviously an issue that you cannot address alone. So it does require these intermediaries like the Turkish Social Entrepreneurship Network. It requires intermediaries like platforms, international platforms, where you can actually access and have visibility. And I think this is really important element that needs to be created by all of us supporting the social entrepreneurs, that to give that visibility to the social entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. That was very succinct. Kurt, on to you.
Well, I can even be more succinct because Anja did a great job there. And it's absolutely true, the quality of the funder. You know, one of the worst things that can happen is that you attract the wrong type of capital, or that you have the wrong type of investor. That can be pretty dangerous. So, you know, be a bit selective. And within that process, which I guess counts for all entrepreneurship, you know, don't give up and expect a lot of no's, and deal with those. It won't be an easy journey. It's what Anja was saying, it's an immature market, not that many players. So it's gonna be tough, but the market is growing. So don't give up, and you will find, you will find the right type of funder for you.
Thank you very much, Kurt. I think we're coming to the end of our panel. We have about a minute left. Do any of our panelists have any final words to say before we close our session and come back to the main room for our next session?
Yes, go ahead, Kurt.
Well, maybe just building on something that was said, that the Turkish foundations are not like the fastest moving in supporting the ecosystem. I think that's in all geographies the same. If you look at Europe, the first funders of EVPA were basically American funders. In Asia, it's been the same. I think it takes a long time before local funders and definitely local philanthropic funders understand the importance. But once they understand, it takes to move. But also there, you need some patience, and it's really not abnormal. You see that in all markets, that local philanthropic funders, they take time before they understand the importance of investing in the ecosystem.
May I add that perhaps
you have 18 seconds left, so
18 seconds. Okay, thank you, everyone. 18 seconds is
it's gone.
Too less of
it's
a
gone
time.
already.
So
thank you very much for joining us. And on to the main room now.